There are always two sides to issues and events unfolding about the February 25th presidential election. Attests to that. Hundreds of protesters under the aegis of natives have protested on the streets of Abuja to defend outcome of the election and warn opposition elements against canvassing for the imposition of an interim government on the country. The protesters specifically told the presidential candidates of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, and Labour Party, Peter Obi, to drop such idea, declaring nobody's mandate was stolen. Also, the national coordinator of the Southwest Agenda for Asiwaju SWAGA, Dayo Adeyeye, said lovers of democracy will oppose the idea of any interim government ahead of May 29 presidential inauguration. What is this talk about interim government?
You see the
latest kites. After losing the election?
Before the election, the idea of, we started hearing about this idea of interim government.
So no elections should not be conducted.
So that they didn't want elections to take place. Yeah, some people
they saw the handwriting on the wall
crystal ball and they saw who was likely to win, and they didn't want that to happen. So they started talking about interim government. Okay, they proceeded with the elections. Some have still not stopped. You know, I said something here that in the history of politics in our country, Nigerian politicians are devious and they are bad losers. That when they lose an election, the next thing they will be looking for is how military can take over. We are now seeing it. Some young people who are still in their diapers, the last time we had a military rule, they went to the defense headquarters to plead that the military should take power.
What?
Have you ever imagined this level of madness that we could get to this?
Wow.
Do they know what it means for military to take over power? Do they know how many people we lost? People like Bagalda Kalto just tortured to death because the military cannot even stand being resisted, or people arguing. Some of these cyber mobsters who are cyber criminals who are lying against people, attacking people anyhow. Do they think they can do it under a military rule? Do people even think sometimes about what they are pushing for? The military should have used tear gas or whatever to chase them out of that place, because that's subversion.
I don't know.
How can you go to that extent because you lost an election? You're asking for military rule? Where in the world are people asking for military rule now? Where in the world? If we are not
going to defense headquarters,
if we are not people who think in a backward manner, who are the people in the world now asking for military rule?
Bad losers.
Terribly bad losers. Now it's clear that some of them are even terrorists. I think it makes sense to think that because it fits the agenda for things to collapse totally.
So painful.
It is the agenda of the terrorists. What are we talking about? Because you lost an election? And I've given an example. Why didn't Kwankwaso lost the election the other day now?
Kano.
It was special, it came back.
Yes.
Today it's more popular.
The person that won today, he was leading in 2019, if you remember, with 43,000 votes.
Yes.
And it was overturned in Gama, in National Local Government.
Yes. Today he won again.
Today he won again.
He won again.
Heaven did not fall.
He did not call for violence. He did not call for military rule. These boys are taking things too far. When we talk now, they will say, oh, how can I as a person, after what we went through with the military, we lost some of our friends. They jailed my boss, Kunle Ajibade, over a coup that did not exist. And then I will sit here and be happy with someone calling for military rule. In those days, I was always running from one. I never stayed in one place. I was running today, I'm in Maiduguri. The next day, I'm in Jos. I can't even stay in one place and walk. They want to return us to that era. God will not answer their prayer.
Amen.
Because this is a very stupid thing to do, to go and be kneeling down asking for military rule. What has come over these boys? I've never seen anything like this.
I think many of them did not study history in school. You know, some of us were grown up enough to understand what were going on during that period. You know, but some of us were teenagers, some of us were in our 20s. Journalists were persecuted. Chris Anyanwu, Niron Malaulu, Kule Ajibade that you mentioned, Bagauda Kauto, state-sponsored killing, Pa Fedruwani, the wife of Kudirat Abiola.
They were killing people.
People were being killed.
Sergeant Rogers.
I remember the June 12th crisis. I will never forget. I walked to Alasea and I saw a dead bodies stone and everything. I witnessed it. Those were the times that you could not even speak against.
Do you know how many people were killed when Abacha wanted to go to the airport and they were demonstrating? And they wanted to take him through another route. He said, no, that you cannot take me through another route. Take me through where they masked up. Take me through that place. And people were slaughtered by the military. So these unthinking boys, that's where they want to take us back. Because they didn't, they were too little, they were little boys then, they didn't witness it. They want to take us back there. It will not happen.
All right, we'll take this break. When we come back, we'll talk more. Stay with us. All right, thank you for staying with us. In line with what we're discussing, just the official Twitter handle of the Department of State Services, DSS confirms plots for interim government by misguided political actors. The Department of the State Services has identified some key players in the plot for an interim government in Nigeria. The service considered the plots as being pursued by those entrenched interests. As not only an aberration, but a mischievous way to set aside the Constitution. They went for that, say, to undermine the civil rule, as well as plunge the country into an avoidable crisis. The illegality is totally unacceptable in a democracy and to the peace-loving Nigerians. Did they? Yes. DSS speaking now for those advocates of interim national government. It is not in the 1999 Constitution. It will not happen. May 29th, by the grace of God, the president-elect Bola Tinubu will be sworn in, because counting the number of days that the court will dispense of that litigation, the first is 180 days. After the 180 days, you now have the 60 days. So May 29 is just around the corner. Sorry.
There's no interim government.
No interim. It doesn't fit into the constitution of Nigeria.
You see, the noisy minority does not own our country. This election, people took part both in the north and in the south. And the people who took part in this election the majority of them were from the north. We are not hearing those noises in northern Nigeria. And the people in northern Nigeria are not inferior.
They protest.
They are not inferior to the people here.
If there's anything...
If they were convinced that you robbed them...
2011.
They will burn people, they will burn houses.
Bauchi, in 2011,
this is not what we have seen. They cannot even tolerate rigging in that way. So, but the point that I'm making is, the people who are making all this noise, they are the lousy, noisy minority. Because we are not hearing it in northern Nigeria. Even a preponderance of the voices from the southwest, we are not hearing all these noises from them. So it's just a vocal minority that is trying to plunge our country into crisis. But the plot of the evil people always gets defeated in our country. This is a fact. Because Nigeria is God's project.
Yeah.
Make no mistake, Nigeria is God's project.
This council of Aitofe.
People told us that told us that even the 2015 election would be the election that would divide Nigeria. The West made all that noise. Nigeria still stood gidigba. So these current noises will still not divide our country. Nigeria will remain one, and Nigeria will regain its pride of place. People can say what they like, but they have no right to be pushing for military rule
or interim government.
They
are stepping out of turn.
They are really fighting beyond their weight category. When you are asking for this, no. We don't want military rule anywhere. Even the Banana Republic, those tiny countries on the Horn of Africa, they are not asking for military rule.
Nobody. System of government is not even accepted.
It just shows that some people. It just shows that this is a case of Kakakekuma justice. That is what they want. That's not what they want. They don't care about the consequences as long as somebody does not get there.
In that same spirit, some people will say Atitoka, but Babalo Shalowo.
Yeah, let them keep deceiving themselves. The truth of the matter is that May 29, after May 29th, if they ask them any question in exam or an interview, who is the president of your country, let them go and write whatever name they like. The truth of the matter is,
whether they will pass
ING is foreign to our laws. It is not possible. The law says that the president must hand over to a successor on May 29.
And the process
has started the process.
Exactly.
Yes,
the man
transition committee,
the APC, PCC.
Yes.
They even went to inspect the Eagle Square. Exactly. Did you see the pictures?
Yep. They've come up with all sorts of lies. The president is contemplating not handing over to.
No, even before the election, he has set up a transition committee led by Boss Mustafa.
The man said it's not true. And then we can see plans, arrangements are in top gear. And some people are still there, they are still dreaming. I don't know where they are.
A country where people can say that their president is dead, that is somebody that they cloned, that they brought here. America.
And people will believe.
America has not cloned a human being.
No one
Germany, the most advanced country in the whole of Europe, the most technologically advanced country in the whole of Europe, they've not cloned a human being. So it is Nigeria.
It was Jubril.
It is Nigeria that will now clone
Jubril
someone.
From Sudan.
Okay.
That was the, some educated persons.
Yes, they served the breakfast.
People that are degree holders actually believe that the person on seat was Jubril from Sudan. And if you see people arguing that time, I mean, you don't go to school, you should be ashamed. Your teachers should be ashamed of you.
The most important thing is that Asiwaju is going to preside over a divided country, and since
with good performance,
yes,
and when he makes the right choices, or the people to
he must try to bring everybody together.
The tension,
yes, the country is very. Because all this is just a function of that division.
Remember when we lost the former chief of army staff? I suggested here that his deputy that time, the army, the army commander policy and plans, this COPP of the army, General Hanotu, I pleaded that he should be made the chief of army staff.
To come bring them.
Yes. Some of the people who abuse me now that hate the Southeast, they are bigoted, absolute rubbish that they are saying. No journalist alive in this country has asked for the rights of the Southeastern people than me. It's something that I know, I'm certain about. Whether on issues with Jide or here. You know how many times we have pleaded for Nnamdi Kanu to be released here? Even just in the interest of a dialogue and all that. Do you know how many times we've done it? That people will say, why? Why are you pleading? Yet they will say, Jide, because we disagree on the presidential election of February 25. They say I'm bigoted, I don't like the Southeast. If I don't like the Southeast, will they give me a traditional title there? Will they give me a traditional title in the source of the Southeast? If I hate the Southeast?
Tribalist.
So now, Asiwaju has to take such decisions. And they can find good people in any part of Nigeria, whether Southeast or anywhere. He will begin to impress Nigerians by even the kind of appointment that he makes. He will begin to shut up the noisy critics when he takes the right decisions that show that he has focus and that is determined to lead us in the right direction. You see that tension will come down. Nigerians are not difficult to please.
Honestly.
They are not difficult to please.
They are not asking for much.
Exactly.
Obasanjo, in the first few months of his government in 1999, people were praising him. He solved the problem of fuel scarcity immediately. Everybody started supporting him, even those who didn't vote for him.